Hello, Mount Rudmore here, and I am back to talk BB24 again. Um, it is Sunday. Well, actually, it's Monday, and we just had the Sunday episode where we got to see the HOH competition in its entirety. I will talk about that eventually, but first, I just want to talk about some stuff that's gone down on stream, since I do already know who HOH is. I do have thoughts on the episode, though. I'm just going to try to go mostly in order here. Hello to my first two viewers. I don't often get two viewers that quickly. I appreciate that. So, first things first, I want to talk about the veto competition. Scarlet Rain 88, good morning. Hello, Scarlet. Thank you for joining. The veto was Saturday, of course, and I was wondering how this was going to work with Monty, Joseph, and Terrence competing. It's like, is it still a team thing? And like, will that make it a seven-person veto? I mean, from what I was gathering, it was like it does still seem to be teams, and yeah, I was just really confused. But apparently, seven people competed. It was, of course, Monty, Joseph, and Terrence, the nominees, Alyssa and Indy, and then Kyle and Smelvis were picked also. And I was like, I do not want Kyle and Smelvis to win because I don't think they would use the veto. Smelvis wants to keep Nicole safe, and Kyle is getting increasingly creeped out by Alyssa and her inability to take no for an answer. And to be honest, I just wanted Monty, Joseph, and Terrence to win it. I just thought, that'd be safer. Alyssa and Indy might get a little insufferable if they have a win to their name. So yeah, I'm just like, I'd rather uh, Monty, Joseph, Terrence just take it. And I don't know what this competition was, but like, I don't know how it would be fair per se, because it's a team of three competing, and then there's two teams of two. So we'll have to wait till Wednesday to see how that works. Alyssa, she showed off some more red flags by telling Indy and Jasmine that she will come for Kyle if he wins the veto and doesn't use it on her. Like, girl, he'll do it if he sees fit. His game is not you. Your game seems to be him, but that's not how he's playing. But Alyssa and Jasmine, they want Smelvis to feel comfortable with Nicole going up to get Taylor out. And I'm like, good. You're all still completely clueless about this. That makes me happy because I really enjoyed seeing you get blindsided on Thursday, and I'm getting greedy. Maybe I want to see it again. Smellis talks to Indy and says that he'll use the veto if he gets it. And I'm like, okay. So that's like one down. Didn't realize I was there. Um, Monty tells Alyssa that he does not want her and Indy to stay up. And he tells her that the target is Taylor. Because we still got to keep this charade going. Because if anyone outside of the leftovers hears anybody other than Taylor is the target, they're going to freak out. because these people just do not adapt at all. But Alyssa does admit that Nicole concerns her, and if there is some sort of plan in motion to get rid of her, Alyssa would rather be on board with it. Like she doesn't want to be um, in the minority again. And Monty just says that he has no reason to get Nicole out. And he later relays this to Turner, and he suspects, because Indy brought this up as well, he suspects that they're trying to get it out of him that they're targeting Nicole, that he's targeting Nicole. And, Monty, once he stopped obsessing over Taylor, he became a rather insightful and intelligent player. So it's like, Smelvis, Nicole, Jasmine, Alyssa, maybe if you stop obsessing over Taylor, you might become better players. It worked for Monty. It worked for Turner. It worked for Joseph. It can work for you too. Who am I kidding? It wouldn't work for Jasmine. She's always going to be a terrible player, no matter what. So Monty talks to Indy about this, and she says Nicole wanted one of them to win to get out Brittany or Turner. She name dropped two members of the leftovers, right to another leftover. Oops. Indy says Taylor should go this week and Nicole next because Monty not doing what the house wants wouldn't look good for him. Imagine just being blindsided 2 days ago, because this was said on Saturday. Imagine being blindsided so recently and still thinking you're the house. You weren't in on this 7-4 vote to get Amira out. Whatever's going on, you are not a part of. So I don't know why you think this, but you're wrong. It's what you want, and it's your what your petty girls club wants. But that's not the house anymore. So yeah, I just don't know how they still think they're running the show. Especially since the one who was running the group, Amira, is gone. Nicole asks Monty if he's happy with the veto picks. He says that he is, because they would all use it to go through with the backdoor Taylor plan. And he's like, as long as you're still comfortable going up, Nicole, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Like, I just want to make sure you're still comfortable going up. And Nicole's like, oh yeah, sure. No problem. I am comfortable. The fish are in the barrel and the gun is being loaded. So the veto happens, and I wasn't too thrilled to hear this, but Kyle and Smelvis won. And, after this happens, Taylor is getting slightly nervous about going up, and can you blame her? This would be the third time in the first 4 weeks that she is nominated. But she's more nervous for Michael and Brittany because they're the only pair that is just leftovers. Every other group, like they'd have the votes to take out whoever else is in it. But if it's Michael and Brittany on the block, then that's a problem. And, there are a few scenarios where this could happen, but, that's like let's just cross this bridge if we get to a point where one of the leftovers does not win HOH next week. But she brings us up to Monty, and he's like, Smelvis is on board with this plan to get you out, Taylor. So I found out something interesting about the veto, and I'm still a little confused about how this is the case, but apparently Kyle can still use the veto after Smelvis doesn't use it. Like, I guess it has to be like, if it's a split decision, then the veto gets used, I guess. It's very confusing, and probably why the veto um, shouldn't be a team thing. But that's just me. But by Kyle using it, like this could potentially lead to, or like him using it and Smelvis not using it, it could make them um, targets. At least one of them, depending on whose perspective it is. And like then they would go up, and of course Smelvis would go in that situation. That is confusing, lol. I'd have given the veto to one person and the pair that won it. Yeah, I think it should have been an individual competition. Like, you know, the the HOH team, Monty, Joseph, Terrence, they compete. The nominees compete, Alyssa and Indy, and then pick one name at random so that it's six people like it always is, and then it's an individual competition, but like the winner can still pull one can they can pull the nominated Festy Bestie pair off the block. This last week we were able to really rise above this twist that a lot of people were not excited about, and to be honest, when I heard it, I'm like, oh god. Luckily, the leftovers came together and overthrew Posepack, which were seemingly primed to skate right to jury thanks to this twist. But the leftovers were able to make it exciting. Now, this week, we kind of have to pivot a lot around this twist. How long is this twist going for? The rest of the game? Apparently, it's going until jury. So it's this week and then next week. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just like, well, once we get to jury, things will be a lot more free. They'll be able to make different moves, and I think that's when the leftovers are going to start to have an easier time. So Smelvis is talking about how Joseph is just the worst liar, and that they were mad that he won it, or he and Kyle won it, and he has to convince Kyle not to use it because this is when it started to become apparent that like for the veto not to be used, it has to be unanimous. And he's like, they need to get Kyle not to use it to to save Alyssa. Like that's what I wrote in my phone. I'm trying to realize if I wrote that incorrectly or if they're that stupid. I think maybe like save Alyssa after leaving it alone to vote out Indy, which would not happen because if Alyssa's on the block, she's gonna go. But he's saying like we got to get Kyle not to use it, or we're handing Monty or Joseph the check, the $750,000 check. And I mean that is a possibility, but it's like you really got to get to work on Kyle because you got to get him to decide to go against this group that has like really enabled him to start talking more game in a much more cutthroat way instead of just like being the goofy tall guy. Like in post pack, he contributed nothing. He was just there. Like he wasn't really allowed to compete. And you know that's another issue with Amira. She was so concerned with being the alpha that she didn't listen to anybody else. She didn't want anyone else's input. And you know, if she had utilized Kyle, then it's like Post Pack really could have dominated this whole thing. But Amira was too in her own head. So yeah. So this was an interesting conversation. Um, Terrence and Taylor were talking. Terrence asks who Amira's second was, like who her second in command was. Like, well, like okay, I was asking who her second was. Her first was Nicole, and who her second. He's wondering who her second was, and he's like, if you have a right hand, don't you got a left? Wait, no, no, no. Sorry. Hmm, I forget who he was referring to as her first, but he said, if you have a right hand, don't you got a left? And then Taylor said, she will be sitting on my left come Thursday. So, you know, there was a little bit of uncertainty as to whether Taylor would really want to go on the block again, but it seems like she's on board now because she wants Nicole gone and smell this, but he won the veto, so that's just not going to happen this week. Um, Michael says that Nicole is starting to get cold feet about being nominated, and Monty says that he can flip that information to tell Alyssa and Indy that Nicole wanted to just leave them on the block and end up with a near unanimous vote. And like unanimous votes, like they're pretty commonplace nowadays, and people aren't that interested when they happen. But it does look good on the HOH if it's unanimous. Like then the HOH doesn't really have to worry about anyone coming for them in the near future. Again, I don't like that that's the way it goes, but that's the way it goes. And you know what? I want the leftovers to work, so in this case, I'm just gonna make an exception. So yeah, it's like Monty getting that information, his mind immediately goes to we can use this against her after we save Alyssa and Indy. So yeah, Monty's thinking, and I am impressed now. If I was Taylor, I'd be nervous about going up again too. Yeah, she's not in love with the idea, but it's like she's more willing to risk her safety than to to keep sharing a space with Nicole and Smelvis, really. But like, this is her chance to get rid of one of them. Nicole asks Brittany if she could join her and Michael after she survives, like if she is nominated and Taylor is backdoor. Excuse me, and Taylor is backdoored, and you know, it's nice that you think that still. Seriously, it is because I want to see you surprised again. But this is what she said that really made me roll my eyes. She says that Nicole says, Michael, you and I, we're the strong ones, and we can protect Brittany this way. And my only thought is, Nicole, you have not won anything yet. Brittany has. Michael and Brittany won the veto together last week. So I don't know why you keep thinking you're this amazing threat. Like, yeah, okay, you work out a lot. You haven't won anything. So yeah, I don't I don't know where she keeps getting this from that she's this amazing, unstoppable competition behemoth when she hasn't won anything. She's like, I almost won that HOH. I lost by 2 points. And like we're getting to the HOH competition on tonight's episode. Like I'll get there eventually, but like she lost by 2 points. The maximum number of points possible in that challenge was 15. So losing by 2 points really like it's not that close. Like if it was out of 100 points, yeah, losing by two was pretty close. But out of 15, that's not that close. She's built the image up in her head, and now she won't believe anything else. Yeah, yeah, she's a complete narcissist, just like Smelvis. This is why they were drawn to each other. Like I don't really know how to attract people's energy to mine, but clearly it is possible to attract energy for two people to have their respective energies bring each other together. Because Nicole and Smelvis are narcissistic, delusional bullies, and they deserve each other. And you know what? It's good that they found each other because they're going to be each other's only friend when this show's over. Yeah, I went there. And, oh, one other thing about that. Nicole tells Brittany and Michael when saying to join them, she's just like, Taylor was never my target. Like, shut up. You're not fooling anybody at this point. Oh, but don't worry. I got another Nicole thing written down on my phone here because she can't shut up about Taylor. Like, that was the last thing I wrote. Nicole says Taylor was never her target. And then the next thing I have written was Nicole blames Taylor for Brittany's mental health struggles. Yeah. And, like, yes, Brittany is kind of in her feelings lately, but it's not anybody's fault. She just kind of, I think maybe she's just kind of worried about this twist and how her and Michael are the most vulnerable members of the leftovers going into next week. Like, that's what she's kind of concerned about right now. And Nicole is blaming that on Taylor because why not? We blame Taylor for everything else. Taylor's why Paloma left. Taylor's why there are ants in the kitchen. Taylor is why JFK was assassinated 30 years before she was born. It's just nonstop. And you know why Nicole is thinking this? I mean, other than her her hate boner for Taylor, it's because Taylor is the only woman in that house that talks to Brittany. All the other women exclude her. Taylor is consoling Brittany because Brittany was all in on Girls Girls. She wanted that to be a thing. And I don't blame her. The last three winners of this show have been men. So she wanted to try to stack the deck, make it so Like put herself in a strong female alliance. The problem is Taylor is the only strong female this season. Like in here. I mean, Brittany and Jasmine are the only women this season to even win a competition, and Jasmine only won it because she was able to sit down for it. Like, Brittany knew she wasn't getting anywhere with these women, with how catty and childish they were. So, yeah, she ditched them. And she fell in with Taylor and the men of the leftovers. So, yeah, like, Nicole is blaming Taylor only because Taylor is Brittany's only female friend in that house. It's nonstop. It's nonstop. Like, if someone told them, if you say Taylor's name once in the next 2 hours, you will automatically be nominated. They would still say Taylor's name. Nicole can't make jury. She's just going to cause so many problems. Yeah, yeah, she will. So it's best to just get her out now. The moment is opportune, and Taylor's willing to sit next to her when it happens. Here's hoping it still does happen, though. Um, so Smelvis, he's just venting to Kyle about oh my god, I feel so betrayed by this vote. I feel so blindsided. It's like, what are we supposed to do? We're both like vulnerable here. And he just has no idea that Kyle was not only in on it, but he was one of the people who led the charge. Like, it was really the combination of like the people who most made it happen, I think, were Kyle and Joseph, and then of course Turner, because like Kyle and Joseph got to Turner, and Turner was the HOH, so he's the one who was really able to make it happen. So it is pretty enjoyable just seeing Smelvis talk about all this to him, knowing full well that Kyle is just going to rat him out to the rest of the leftovers first chance he gets. And apparently that has happened. I don't know. It's been a slow update day. Like, I've had to, like, some of my trusted sources have just been, like, BB updates, that's like my go-to source. It has not updated. When I last checked, it hadn't updated in 23 hours. And I think by now it's over a day. So I don't know what's going on there. I've been checking other things. I've gotten some stuff, but I don't. BB updates or Big Brother Daily, like they really paint the picture the best. They're the most reliable ones, I think. But yes, from what I've gathered, Kyle has told at least one person in in the leftovers about it. I don't remember who. If I had to guess, I'd say probably Monty, just because he's HOH. So yeah, they really have no clue. They, none of them can picture Kyle as this mastermind because, let's face it, I took one look at that guy and was like, this guy looks like a complete tool. I mean, for God's sake, a, a working 30-year-old from Utah who lives with his mother. What is there to take seriously about this dude? But dang if he hasn't been a sneaky little SOB. And I ain't mad at it. Oh, now this was a good one. Taylor talks about how she's going to be out for blood in her speech on Thursday. when she's sitting next to Nicole. She's going to mention about how Nicole thought it would be a good idea to sit next to Taylor to become her festy bestie, and now look where you're sitting. Like she is. Taylor has been unfailingly sweet and polite from day one, despite what some of the revisionist history from Pooch and especially Paloma has been since they've gotten out and returned to social media. She has just been completely kind the whole time. She's shown nothing but kindness, and like she's finally being rewarded for it by being brought into the leftovers. So it will be kind of enjoyable to see her finally get to share more emotions sitting next to Nicole on the block. And one thing she was saying, and she was telling this to Monty and I believe Joseph. And she says something she'll say on Thursday is, "I hope you treat me better outside the house than you treated me inside." And I'm just like, oh, oh, Nicole is going to hit you. Nicole is not going to handle that well. She is going to snap, and she is going to have to be escorted from the premises. I just hope that someone is able to get in the way and prevent Nicole from actually getting physical, because the way Nicole acts, if this plan goes through, I am not exaggerating when I say I could see her having a physical response to being evicted. And since Taylor would be sitting next to her and she hates her the most, Taylor would be the first target of her wrath. So I really hope that does not happen. But I have not been able to shake the thought that it might. Okay, if Nicole hits Taylor, she's going to be even more hated on social media. LOL. Oh, it'll go way beyond that. She'll be like, I mean, like every contestant who goes on Big Brother, like obviously $750,000 is the prize money, but they all get some kind of stipend for just being in the house. I think it's bigger the longer you last, but you do get paid something for your time. I think if Nicole were to actually assault Taylor or anybody, I feel like if you assault somebody, I feel like you lose your right to your money. Like I say, you just don't get paid for that. Like that's completely unacceptable. All right, so let's get on to the episode from tonight, by which I mean last night because it's 1:15 a.m. here now. Um, I'm glad you agree, Scarlett. So we get to see the HOH competition fully. Now, we knew, because we saw at the end of Thursday's episode, that Jasmine, Terrence, and Brittany all qualified for the HOH competition. But there were five more people that were going to be eligible. They had to open all these envelopes, and whoever could find the ones with the invitation in them, like they they would get to compete. And so, like I said, knew about Jasmine, Terrence, and Brittany because they were on the episode. I knew about Monty because he was the HOH, and I knew Nicole was in it because she was like, I lost by 2 points. So I did not know who the other three were. I'd heard some whispers, but I didn't know for sure. So watching the episode, the others were Smelvis, Joseph, and Alyssa. But Alyssa and Indy found envelopes. Like there was one spot left, and Alyssa and Indy found up found envelopes at basically the same time, and Alyssa just barely beat Indy to the podium. And my only thought is, why weren't there just 8 invitations out there? Like, just put 8 in an envelope. You know? I mean, I guess, like, maybe they were just trying to keep it from, like, they were throwing like 1,500 envelopes. That could have taken them a long time to get through. I guess maybe that's why there was more than 8, even though there were only 8 that could get through. But yeah, that's how it happened. Alyssa and Indy found one at the same time, and Alyssa got to the podium first. So then we get to see the HOH competition, and it's like a shuffleboard thing. They have these. They have to like send these wine glasses, fake wine glasses, sliding down this board. And it's like the further to the edge you get, the more points you get. Like the very edge, the very small area, which is worth 5, and then 4, 3, 2, and 1 is of course a very big area right at the beginning. So it's like, you have to get as many as you can get without going off the edge. And they've done competitions like this before. Big Brother staple. Had no problem seeing it again, even though I was still a little traumatized by the fact that this was the HOH that Janelle just narrowly lost week 3 of All Stars. She lost by 1 point, and then Tyler won and took her out. That was a truly miserable week. Not gonna lie. So, you know, they all compete, and Monty gets 11. Nicole gets 9. And that's what she was freaking out about. Oh, I lost by 2 points. And it's like, you got 9 out of 15, okay? That's a pretty mediocre score. I mean, granted, it was the second highest score, but you know, like I said this before. There were only 15 points possible, so it's really not quite as close because it was such a small margin that losing by 2 points is not really that close. Oh, got to talk about this. Um, After Nicole scored her 9, she was walking back, and like, so the ones who didn't qualify were Taylor, Michael, Kyle, and Indy, and they were just seated at this table next to the the play area. And with her score of 9, Taylor leaned out and like extended her hand, like, "Hey, high five, Nicole." Nicole completely left her hanging, and it seemed intentional. I don't see how Nicole didn't see her. Of course, Taylor just kind of laughed it off, like, "Oh, guess she didn't notice." Because again, Taylor sees the best in people. But yeah, it's really pretty apparent to me that Nicole did it intentionally because that's who she is. And I'm just thinking, you are 41. How are you this petty and childish? It's really sad. And she brings it up a lot. She's like, I mean, I'm 41. I'm, I'm like, I know things. I'm 41. Let me tell you something. I'm 31. I'm gonna be there in 10 years. And I refuse to let myself be that childish at that age. Like, you know, I admit I am not the most mature person. I, I'm a man child. I'll be the first to admit that. But I would never stoop to the level that she stoops to on a hourly basis. I feel like you already know more than she does. Well, I mean, yeah, I actually like look at situations and think about them for myself and learn from them. She gets images in her own head and twists reality to make them real. So, of course, in the immediate aftermath of Amira's eviction, everyone is freaking out. Alyssa's in tears. Nicole's just raging, like, I didn't even get to say goodbye. And I'm just like, you could have, but all you said to Amira on her way out the door was, I'll see you on the Amazing Race, which you won't. And you also seem like a much better person than she will ever be. Why, thank you, Scarlett. But yeah, everyone's still just trying to piece everything together. Like, how did this happen? Smelvis and Nicole, they don't trust anybody anymore. And we got a Jasmine DR diary room session that really showed the pathetic truth of who she is to America. Like, as mad as she is that Amira is gone, she is more mad that Taylor knew and she didn't. The fact that Taylor was in the loop when she was not, she can't handle that. And like this is who Jasmine is. She keeps showing us. This is who she's been on the feeds the whole time, and I'm glad they're showing her being like this in the diary room because, you know, not everyone who watches Big Brother watches the live feeds. So all they have to go off of is her annoying country bumpkin sayings. And, like, I haven't seen anyone who enjoys them. And, like, now, the people who are more casual viewers, they're seeing that she's just miserable. And she's downright unpleasant to be around. All she does is complain. She's miserable about everything. I just don't understand. What is Taylor meant to have done to get all these women to hate her so much? She had a she had a confidence strut on night one when she walked over to her place in the first HOH competition, and then they found out she was she'd been in beauty pageants, and they're like, oh, she's just a pageant queen, so we automatically hate her. She's done nothing to any of them. Exactly, exactly. It's all childish, and I'm just glad that some people who probably aren't seeing the full scope of what a miserable person Jasmine is, they're finally getting to see it through them putting it on the episode. That just shows their insecurities, and that's why they hate her. Yes, all of these women are dripping with insecurity, except Brittany. Brittany and Taylor, they're pretty good friends, and like Taylor, Brittany, and Michael, they have all kind of kicked around the idea of taking each other to the final three, which I would not mind at all. So yeah, that's all my notes. We'll see if anything has happened. They did just get alcohol for Michael's birthday, so we something could happen. The last time they got alcohol, uh, Taylor flirted with Smelvis, which a lot of us are still trying to pretend didn't happen. But maybe something else wacky has gone down. Not only is it Michael's birthday, it's Keisha's birthday, which was an iconic moment in Big Brother. There was a huge blow up on this one contestant, Keisha. It was a huge blow up on her birthday, and Keisha herself got involved in it. Like everyone was just screaming at each other. I haven't watched that season, but it was pretty insane. Like I've seen the clip of Keisha screaming at someone, giving them the finger, going "F you," and the old guy was like, "You're going home." And then, of course, after after the fight, they all just kind of awkwardly sing "Happy Birthday" to Keisha, and this one lady's like, "Anybody want cake?" I Part of me wants to watch that season, but I also just never want to see Memphis again because he's a racist piece of crap. So I'm torn. Memphis Memphis is charging $1,000 on Cameo now. Like, bro, you were America's least favorite player on All Stars. Like, I get that you need the money to pay for your medical bills after Christmas ran you over with her car, but you're not getting it through Cameo. Like, if you have the money to afford a Cameo video from Memphis from Big Brother, donate that money to a cause that helps people on the spectrum. You know, the kind of people that he mercilessly picked on when he was picking on Ian during All Stars. That's all I have to say about that. It is official. Big Brother Daily has not updated in a full day. All right. Well, I'll check the hashtags, see what's happening, if anything. I wasn't 100% sure I even wanted to talk about it, but you know what? I think I will. Um, Paloma. She is just, it's excuse after excuse, but not sorry. Like, she gets out. She realizes she's not very well liked. She, uh, she tries to say, "Oh, me and Taylor, we're gonna be great friends. Like Taylor's a queen. I love Taylor." Like that was the first story she went with, and nobody was buying it. Everyone was still pointing out how much she was a bully and pointed out all of her microaggressions towards Taylor. And now, with all of that not working, she is trying a new tactic. She is saying that Taylor bullied her. Taylor bullied her. And both her and Pooch are going for the excuse like, you don't see everything. The feeds are manipulated. No, these are live feeds. They are pointing cameras at you and filming what you do and say. you know, on a show like Survivor, if you're if you seem kind of problematic, you can maybe get away with saying that wasn't how it looked on the show because there were no live feeds. Like it's really your word against theirs, and you like if you're convincing enough, you can get people to be like, yeah, okay, I think this person's actually telling the truth. I don't know if I believe any of that. But Big Brother, it is live. We can see you. And I saw Kat from BB21 when she responded to Pooch saying stuff like this. She was like, usually when a little bug in my face, usually when the feeds cut away and hide something, it's for the benefit of the house guests. Like they do have a tendency to cut away anytime they think they're going to say something controversial. So for them to just be like, I said all these amazing, nice things about Taylor when the feeds weren't on me, it it doesn't work. We're not idiots. So yeah, Paloma's trying to say that Taylor bullied her. No, she made two joking comments. You freaked out and turned it into a hate campaign that is still somehow going in your absence. Like you were in that house for 1 week. We are now on week 4, and people are still on this train. Luckily, the ones who are the most committed to your bullcrap have no power anymore. And even if they win power again, the leftovers will find a way to usurp it. So yeah, Paloma, you're not fooling anybody. You could have just said sorry. Like that would go a long way. You know, you start by saying sorry and then you prove it through actions later. But it seems like you are not going to do that. So, you know, I cross paths with you on Twitter. You're getting the block button pretty quickly. Just like Smelvis and Pooch already have. Yeah, kind of a slow day. But still, I managed to get 53 minutes out of this, almost 54. So, yeah, I want to call it there. Um, Things have slowed down this week, but I think Thursday has potential to be pretty satisfying. I just hope that Nicole leaves peacefully, and if not peacefully, then without throwing a fist. Is that? I feel like that might almost be too much to ask from her. So yeah, that says a lot about her. All right, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you, Scarlett, for watching. Thank you to any other viewers I had along the way. Thank you if you're watching this on YouTube. And I will be back maybe on Tuesday to do another one. Tuesday or Wednesday, one or the other. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me right now. Peace out.